professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk with Chris Godinez. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. If you feel you need a therapist, please go to Google, type in therapy, your city, Psychology Today will pop up, click on that, and it will have all of the therapists in your area. Also, the views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other goddamn therapist for that matter. Thank you. All right, so there that is. All right, so let's get some housekeeping stuff out of the way. So I am going to be doing my book signing at Changing Hands for You Can Lead a Horse to Water, but you can't make him cha-cha, on March 23rd, which is a Friday at 7 p.m. I'll probably do a half an hour or so of lecture, and then I want to take questions from you guys, and the rest of the time I'll be signing books and talking to y'all. So March 23rd, Changing Hands in Tempe, Arizona, which is on the corner of McClintock and I think Guadalupe. I should probably look that up. Anyway, so March 23rd, 7 o'clock, be there. We kind of need a guesstimate of how many people are coming because they need to know how many books they need to stock. I told them between 40 and 50. So if it's going to be more than that, I kind of need to let them know. Hi, guys. Okay. Oh, hello from Atlanta. So that brings me to my next topic. So I am coming to Atlanta. I am going to be doing book signings. I am going to be doing a seminar. So the evil plan right now is that it'll be on, the book signings will be on Saturday and Sunday with a seminar on Sunday is what it looks like right now. We are selling tickets for it. The tickets are $20. VIP tickets will be a little bit more. Basically in a VIP, I'll just meet with you guys before. It's going to be a limited group, probably about 10, maybe 15 people at the most. Coffee and pastries. I'm trying to get him to get me croissants because I like croissants. So we'll be doing that. And that'll be in Atlanta. So that'll be April 21st and 22nd. I will let you guys know on Tuesday. So I'll make my announcement on Tuesday as to what the venues are for the book signings and what the venue is for the seminar. So there is that. Okay, so anyway, so go to Eventbrite and sign up if you're going to be there, and you can purchase tickets through there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Hello from Denmark and hello from the UK. Wow. Oh, hi, guys. Okay, and hello, Brooklyn. Okay, so I think that was that. So book signing, first one, March 23rd. Not that I'm nervous or anything. March 23rd. Tempe, Arizona, Changing Hand Bookstores, 7 p.m. Be there. Please sign up so we know how many people to expect. Good Lord, Monterrey, Mexico. Hi. Okay. So there's that. Second bit of bookkeeping. So if you want to, ask questions, things like that, I am totally cool. Dog face banana patch. I am totally cool with that. Just don't send me a novel, guys, because honestly, I don't have the time. Usually what I do is when I get a novel is I try to scan through it and find what the question is, and then I answer the question. So hello from Michigan. So if you could just keep it short, really, please, for everybody's sake, so I don't lose my mind. That would be awesome. Also, you can contact me on Facebook here at, where am I? We Need to Talk. You can always instant message me there. You can instant message me on my LPC page, my public speaker LPC page. That's where I do a little bit more of the more personal stuff, so you get an idea of who the heck I am, although I'm pretty sure you guys figured it out by watching my videos here. But, so I'll post funny things. I'll post political things. I'll post things that I might start posting a few of the Victorians that I see, because that's kind of my thing. Okay, where was I? On YouTube, you can private message me on YouTube as well. Please, please, please do not message me on my personal page. I am keeping that, or I'm trying to keep that separate for my family and my friends. Pretty please, sweetheart darlings, loves of my lives. Just message me on the public pages. If you start messaging me on the personal page, I'm probably not going to read it, or I'm probably going to decline it, just because I'm getting so many people trying to message me on my personal page. So please don't do that. Please message me either here on We Need to Talk or on the LPC page. That would be great. Okay, now, today, hello from Washington. I bet it's cold up there. Whew. Okay, So we are talking dual diagnosis. Okay, that's what I wanted to talk about. Okay, so dual diagnosis, that's comorbidity. So when you hear me talking about it's comorbid, that means there's more than one diagnosis going on. So that's a comorbidity thing. I don't know why they call it that. It sounds terrible, but it just means that there's more than one thing going on. And here's my Deadpool cup. So what oftentimes can happen, it's freezing. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. It's going to be gorgeous in the summer though. What can often happen, and I don't know if we want to tackle targets first and then move on to abusers, or let me just, how do I want to organize this? Let me think for a second. Many different diagnoses can mimic personality disorders. Maybe that's a good place to start. So when somebody is in the thrall or the throes of alcoholism, addiction of any kind, it can mimic narcissism. It can also mimic borderline. Why? Because somebody who is an addict is going to be emotionally deregulated. They're going to be all over the place. They're going to be very self-centered. They're not going to want to give up their drug of choice, which kind of includes us when we're in the middle of the abusive relationship, because we're in the middle of an addiction. So addiction can mimic narcissism, very much so. So it's really hard to tell if you're dealing with somebody who is abusive and they have an alcohol problem. Are they just fucking assholes, or is it the alcohol, or is it the personality disorder? So this is why when somebody comes in and they've got drugs or alcohol on board, the first thing we tell them, or I tell them, is that, and when I say we, it's when I was working back at the homeless shelter, the first thing we tell them, or I tell them, is that you've got to get clean and sober, because we can't figure out whether this is the drugs and the alcohol talking, or whether this is your personality talking, or whether there is something else, such as bipolar disorder. So bipolar disorder can also mimic a personality disorder, especially if it is in the manic phase. Okay. So, and bipolar 2, that's another one that can mimic borderline personality disorder. The other thing that can mimic borderline personality disorder is complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Wow. So a lot of survivors of abuse get misdiagnosed with a personality disorder when in fact they have post-traumatic stress disorder. So this is why you want to get with somebody who understands personality disorders and abuse and surviving abuse and things like that, so that you don't get labeled with the wrong damn thing. So, and I've heard this over and over and over again from survivors of abuse, is that it turns out they've got PTSD, CPTSD, and an inexperienced clinician has diagnosed them with borderline. And it's like, yeah, no, you survived abuse. You've got that. But, but here's where it gets all confusing. It is because borderline personality disorder is rooted in trauma. This is where it started. So it's nature and nurture, to be sure, because you can have families where there's, 1 or 2 kids with the issue, but the rest of the kids are fine. Nature, nurture. But it is generally rooted in some sort of trauma. So you get the person with borderline personality disorder if they are at the lower end of the spectrum. So I'm talking like the hermits and the quiet ones. If you can get them working on their trauma and get them with a DBT therapist and do intense, and I mean intense, DBT therapy. So it's group 1 time a week and individual 1 time a week. So you're going twice a week, group, individual, group, individual, group, individual. That can help them emotionally regulate, and they will be able to help themselves. Now, caveat, once you move down that spectrum and you're into the queens and the witches, stick a fork in them, they're done. They're not going to change. They're not going to get better. They're not going to go through DBT and get anything out of it. They are stuck in their behavior, mainly because they want to be. So I get really tired of people going, oh, you tell people that they can't change, blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry, do you have your master's degree? Have you worked in the field? Have you dealt with these people? Do you deal with the targets of abuse? No, you don't? Well, then shut up. Done. I get really sick of that. Okay. Hello, Vancouver, Canada. Oh my God, I love Vancouver. It is so beautiful there in the summertime. We got stuck in an ice storm one time trying to get to Vancouver to get to a hockey game, which oddly enough was canceled due to ice. Go figure. Anyway, all right. So all of these different diagnoses, thingies can get misdiagnosed as a personality disorder. So that's why it's really important that you question who the heck you're seeing. What is their knowledge in this area? What is their modality? It is amazing to me how many people don't ever ask me a damn thing. It's like they call me up out of the blue. They don't know who I am. They haven't seen the videos. They haven't read the books, none of that. And they're just like, do you have an open space? And I'm like, before I say yes, why don't we talk a little bit so I make sure we're a good fit? And then I'll tell them, it's like, I'm a licensed professional counselor. I use CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. I'm going to be working on mistaken thoughts, mistaken beliefs, communication issues, that type of thing, what you tell yourself. I use a lot of humor. I swear like a sailor. If that's a problem, let me know. And usually by that point, they're like laughing their asses off. But they don't ask questions. You guys need to ask questions. You need to, please, for the love of God and all that's holy, when you go to get with a counselor, you need to interrogate them as much as they interrogate you. And some counselors don't. I have seen counselors that just go, yep, sure, I'll take you. Okay, here's the thing. If somebody calls up and they've got a severe mental illness and it's unmedicated, I'm not going to be any use to them. If they're hearing voices, I won't be able to work with the thoughts because the thoughts are so completely disordered and chaotic and psychotic that I won't do any good for them. Now, once they're on medication, they get that under control. Yeah, I can come in and help them work with those thoughts and work with the fear and work with the anxiety and work with the depression, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So hey, Christopher. So that's why it's important to talk to your clinician and find out what is their modality. What do they do? Do they understand abuse? Do they get post-traumatic stress disorder? Do they know the difference between a post-traumatic stress disorder, rage or anger, and a narcissistic or borderline rage or anger? Two totally different things. And if you're not, hi Beth, if you're not well versed in this, you will confuse one for the other. So targets of abuse often get misdiagnosed. The CPTSD from Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker, I cannot push that enough. Really, truly cannot push that enough, because it works on the trauma and it works for people with borderline. But the caveat is, if you are a quiet borderline, if you are a quiet or a hermit, get with a good therapist to go through this book with, because it will trigger the living crap out of you. It triggers the living crap out of survivors of abuse. It's going to trigger the living crap out of people with borderline because they too have gone through trauma. So yeah, work with a professional when you're doing this so that you don't get triggered and freaked out and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So super important. Okay. So thinking, all right. So in addiction, like I was saying, it can mimic a personality disorder because people are very selfish. People want the drug, whether it's alcohol, drugs, or a person. They throw people under the bus for it. They will throw their family away. They'll throw their friends away. They'll throw their children away. They'll do whatever it takes to get that drug. So it's really hard to tell what is going on until the person has been clean and sober. How does this apply to targets of abuse? You're never going to get better as long as your abuser is in your life. That is your drug of choice. There you go. So you got to get rid of them. You got to get rid of him. And until that abuser is out of your life, it's never going to get better. You're never going to not want that drug. So that's why I tell everybody, it's like, when you get out of an abusive relationship, get single, stay single for a minimum of a year. It's just like being an alcoholic. So what do they tell us in AA? Stay single. If you can raise a plant, that's great. Then you get a dog. If you can keep that alive, then you're fit for a relationship and not before. It's kind of like 28 Days with Sandra Bullock. Great movie, by the way. But as long as you are in contact with your abuser, you're still in contact with your drug of choice. You're still in contact with your drug of choice. You're still trying to get your hit. It's not going to get better, guys. It's not. So once you've gotten that person away, now you can start working on you. Now you can start healing the abuse. You can start working on the complex post-traumatic stress disorder. You can start working on the lack of self-esteem. You can start working on those mistaken thoughts, mistaken beliefs that led you in the first place from the original wound, mom and dad, hello, to be groomed, to be set up to go into an abusive relationship. My partner is reading Starfish by Akimi Dawn Bowman. She says it's like her mother, not read it myself. Yeah, I haven't read that one yet either. I'd love to know what that's about. That would be cool. Okay. Hello, Nevada. Okay. So just like with us, it's like, it's hard to tell. It's like, okay, so we're throwing our family, our friends, our, careers, our hobbies, our everything, our children under the bus for the abuser. Now, here's the thing though, is that while we are doing that, the family, the friends, the children are all thinking that they're worthless, that they're bad, that they're wrong, that they're horrible, that they're terrible, and that it's them and not us because we were in the throes of an addiction. So, hey, Arthur. Yes, thank you. That's my evil plan, is I want to heal this damn planet because, oh, good Lord, there's so much crap going on. Anyway, so and somebody asked me to speak more on this topic. So when we come out of the abuse and we get rid of the abuser and we start working on ourselves, yes, we are going to have to make amends. Now, here is the caveat. As in AA, we do not contact the person if it is going to cause more harm. Okay, so like if reaching out to them and saying, hey, I screwed up. I just wanted to let you know that I'm very sorry. It will not happen again. I know you probably hate me and it's okay that you do. And I just wanted to let you know I am taking personal responsibility for this. If that's going to harm the person, then you don't do it. And the way that would be like is if they were, in a place where it would harm them. They would come unglued. They would, whatever. But again, it's kind of on them. So you have to judge that. It's like, well, okay, if you're truly making amends and you're not expecting anything, it probably won't harm them. But if it will harm them, then you don't do it. If you do it, remember that the amends are made for you and you alone. So in other words, when you go to make amends, there are going to be some people that are just going to go, fuck you, I don't care. Thanks for the amends, fuck you. Okay, well, that is part of the consequences of having been addicted to an abuser and us throwing family, friends, kids, career, hobbies under the bus for the abuser. That is part and parcel of it. I have the last few people in my life I haven't cut out because I wouldn't have anyone left. I have a gut feeling they are flying monkeys. Trust your gut. At the very least, they support the narcissist by interacting with him. Trust your gut. You're not wrong. You say to cut out people that are flying monkeys, but at the same time, that what they think is none of my business. Please explain further what I should do. I don't want to lose them, but I also can't stand that they talk to the narc. Honey, they're not in your corner. I'm sorry, they're not. Get rid of them, because guess what? If they're talking to the narc, they're telling the narc whatever it is you're doing. It's none of the narc's business. And no, you cannot control people. Absolutely. But here's the deal. If there is somebody in your life that is running back to the narcissist and talking to them and supporting them and telling them what you're doing and telling them everything you're saying and everywhere you're going and everything you're thinking and everything, that, guess what? You cut them out. You cut them out. Painful? You betcha. You betcha. But here's the deal. It is better to be alone for the right reasons than with somebody for the wrong. That is my favorite saying in the world. Let me just say that again. It is better to be alone for the right reasons than with somebody for the wrong reasons. Get rid of them. Cut them out. Be done. Be done, be done, be done. You don't need that. Here's the truth of the matter. You will not be able to make good friends as long as you are placeholding with flying monkeys. There's no room. Your whole thoughts are consumed with what are they thinking? What are they saying? What are they saying to him? How's that happening? How come they're not supporting me? Da, 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 da. Those aren't friends, baby doll. Those are not friends. True friends support you. True friends do not put up with abuse. True friends point it out when they see it, even at the risk of losing that friendship. And it will happen. Trust me, when we're in the throes of abuse, and we are committed to protecting our abuser, we will tell family, friends, children to go fuck themselves. We will. Because we are in the middle of a fog. Fear obligation, and guilt. And our ego is in the way, and it's unwilling to admit we fucked up. We picked wrong. We picked wrong. So yeah, get rid of the flying monkeys. You don't need them. Life is too short. Go be happy. Go surround yourself with people who are your tribe. And your tribe is here. Your tribe is out there. You know, other people who are in survivor abuse, other people who are working on themselves, other people who are working on self-esteem. When you get your self-esteem going, you recognize that you don't deserve to be treated poorly by anyone, period. And I don't give a fuck who they think they are. Do you see where I'm going with that? Okay, so there is that. Go take care of you. Trust your gut. Trust your gut. Your gut's not wrong. Your gut is never wrong. It's so funny to me. It's like every time somebody's like, well, my gut is saying this. And I'm sitting here going, yeah. So listen to it. It's right. Your gut is right. Listen to your gut. Please, please, please listen to your gut. Okay. Oh, so in AA as well. So once the person gets clean and sober, and they do have a personality disorder, they will they will do a couple of things. They will use AA as their new supply ground. So just to be aware, it's like there are people that have personality disorders that go to AA and then use it as their supply ground. They're the ones who have 100,000 million sponsees. You want to be careful of that. So if you are going into AA to work on an addiction of any kind, you want to get a sponsor that has no more than 2 or 3 sponsees. Any more than that, they're not going to have the time to pick up the phone at 2 o'clock in the morning when you're like, holy crap, I really want to go use, whether that using is calling your abuser up, or whether that using is going for a drink, or whether that user is, you know, shooting up. It's like, you need somebody who's going to be able to be a sponsor and pick up that phone and take you to a coffee shop at 2 o'clock in the morning if you need it. And if they've got more than 3 sponsees, they're not going to have time. So abusers will use AA as a supply ground. Absolutely. Abusers will also use support groups as a supply ground. So that's what I'm saying. It's like in here, guys, if somebody is posting and it doesn't sound or feel right, please do let me know. I've got an intern to get rid of them. So, because I'm not putting up with that, because this is for people who have been abused. And I do not want anybody here to be harmed in any way, shape, or form. Okay. Where are we? Just received a letter in the mail after 9 months of going no contact with 5 pages of love poems. Hoover, where's the vacuum cleaner? Hoover, that's a Hoover. Nope. Here's the deal, guys. You don't treat people like shit and then send them a love poem. It doesn't cut it. It doesn't cut it. Okay. Okay. Yep, it's love bombing. Absolutely. All right. I changed my number 3 times and blocked them on social media. Everything good. Yeah, do it. Yeah, just keep blocking them, keep blocking them, keep blocking them. So, so the abuser, if they really are an abuser, okay, if they're not an abuser, okay, let's back up a little bit. If they've been an addict, and they were treating you poorly, and they were in an addiction, and they got out of the addiction, they got rid of the substance, the alcohol, the drugs, whatever it was, and they really did get it, and they started changing. First of all, they would be meticulous in their words and their actions. Actions and words will match, okay? They will also be very conscientious of speaking the truth. They will be very conscientious of not lying. They will call themselves out on stuff. Now, these are all things that true abusers cannot do because their ego is too ginormous and it will not let them or allow them. Oftentimes, abusers will use the 12-step program to 13th step, which is meaning they're looking for a new girlfriend, boyfriend. And so they use this as an opportunity to date. So if your sponsor is good, they will warn you of that. And they will say, no, 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 you don't do that. 12 steps is for working on you, period. If you want to date, go out somewhere else and find another social group. But this is not the place to date. So hold on. Okay. So 12-step programs are great, and I love them, and they're great for addiction. So if you don't want to go to an AA meeting, if you don't have a substance abuse issue, but you do have this issue going on, then you want to, being addicted to the abuser, the intermittent positive rewards, you can go on to Amazon and you can get the big book off of Amazon and start working the steps. The steps are great. And if you don't like the God and the higher power thing, change it to whatever works for you. You know, the tree outside, the universe, the stars, the sun, the moon, the clouds, whatever you want, just change it, okay? And you want to start working on that. Okay, so that's with abuse. Now, the other thing I wanted to point out is that with abusers, they will very often have a dual diagnosis. So they will be narcissistic and be addicted to some substance. So they'll be like narcissistic and alcoholic. And even though the alcohol goes away, they're still a narcissist. So that's what you're going to be looking for. I would be interested in what you think a comorbidity of NPD and BPD would look like in real life. If you have time, yes, I'm going to talk about that. In fact, I'm going to talk about that next after I finish that thought that I just lost. Oh, I hate it when that happens. Okay, getting back to it. Okay, so when the person gets off of the substance, so oftentimes abusers will have multiple issues going on. They'll be addicted to gambling, porn, alcohol, drugs, cheating, because those are all spiking the dopamines and the endorphins. So once the substance is gone, and if they're still doing these behaviors, then it's them. It's not the substance. It's not their alcoholism. But what I have seen abusers do, poor me, I'm a recovering alcoholic. This is the alcohol that was talking. This is all the, the addiction issue. I'm sorry. Once you're clean and sober, if that shit is still going on, then it's you. Sorry. Because once you're honest about it and you really have a come to Jesus or come to the moon or come to the universe meeting with yourself, you're honest, you're meticulous in your truth, you speak the truth, you don't lie, you call yourself out on your own shit, you're really good about making amends. You see where I'm going with that? You don't throw your children under the bus, you don't throw your family under the bus, you don't throw your friends under the bus, and the ones that you did throw under the bus, you contact and go, wow, I'm really sorry. I was in the thrall of an abusive relationship and I'm so sorry and it'll never happen again. And then you make sure it never happens again. Pretty much. Okay. So, let's see. My ex-narc didn't have any addictions to anything. She never hit me, just abused me in all the other ways. Yeah, well, so here's the thing. This is what I want to get across to people, and this is what I'm going to be talking about in my seminars and in my book signings. Abuse does not look how we think it does. So, in other words, Hollywood has made abuse look like the burning bed. You remember that old one? God, I'm dating myself. With Farrah Fawcett, and she was just, beating the crap out of and all of this stuff. It's not always physical abuse. And in fact, physical abuse is easy to spot. It's the emotional abuse that clinicians miss, and it's the emotional abuse that is more pervasive, and it's the emotional abuse that lasts longer because those wounds go straight to that core wound, and it's hard to heal because the narcissist and the malignant borderline know exactly what buttons to push to make you feel like doo-doo and to make you believe that you are doo-doo. So that's why emotional abuse is more damaging than physical abuse. Bruises heal. This crap? No. Our abusers just kind of move into our head and start going, hey, guess what? You're shit. You're not this. You're not that. You're terrible. You're this. You're ugly. You're fat. You're blah, 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 blah. Fuck you. Seriously. That's why you have to tell that internal dialogue to piss off and replace it with a positive, because the abuser has moved into our internal dialogue. We have internalized them. Excise them. Power of Christ compels you. Get them out. Seriously. It's like, get them out. They have no business living in your head. Raise the rent, evict them. So it's the thoughts that are more damaging than the physical abuse because they harm us, and they say these horrible things that we take to heart because we love them, because we trusted them, because we opened our heart to them, and we believed them when they were in the love bombing mirroring phase, and then they moved into the discard devalue phase, and we believed them again. Stop believing what they say about you. Every rotten word that came out of their mouth was about them. Let me say that again. Every rotten word that came out of their mouth in the devalue and the discard phase was really about them. Yeah, that's kind of a mind blower. It's not about you. It's never been about you. Even the love bombing mirroring phase was not about you. They're mimics. That's what they do. And then during the discard phase, what do? They pick on the things that they know you're sensitive about, or that you're insecure about, or that they feel about themselves, and they go to town. It's all about them. It's never been about you. So every rotten thing that they've ever done, write it down. Write it down. It's not about you. It's about them. So in other words, if they're sitting there accusing you of cheating, guess what they're doing? If they're accusing you of lying, guess what they're doing? If they're accusing you of stealing, guess what they're doing? They're doing the things that they're accusing you of, because that's what projection is. So it's something that they are doing themselves that they cannot cope with, they can't admit to, they can't own up to. And so they do the whole, oh, it's you, it's you, it's you, it's you. It's not. It's not. It's them. It absolutely is them. And the proof in the pudding is, okay, so people, fleas. Okay, I'm all over the place today. I am so sorry, guys. So fleas. So when you're with an abuser and you're addicted to them, right? You're trying to meld yourself into something that they want desperately. So you're trying hard, like nobody's business, to get back to that love bombing phase. That's basically what every abused person is living for. That's why people hang on for years. Oh, but they kind of sort of acted the way they used to, and no, here's the devalue. Well, no, they're kind of sort of doing what they used to, but no, here's the devalue. And so we keep living for that. When are they going to come back to what we saw in the beginning? And when are they going to stay there? They're never going to stay there. They're never going to stay there. When they show you who they are, believe them the first time. Seriously. Now, here's the thing. When a target of abuse is with an abuser, okay, they are picking up fleas. They're picking up the behaviors. They're picking up the behaviors. When somebody's living with an alcoholic, you pick up the behaviors. Absolutely. You pick up the negativity. You pick up the nastiness and the snarkiness and the this and the that and the lying and the blah, 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 blah. It's called identifying with your aggressor. That's what it is, because you're trying to match their energy so that they'll leave you the fuck alone. So we pick up fleas from them. Now, does that make us an abuser? Not necessarily and not technically. Once you get out of the relationship and you recognize that you are behaving in a way you don't like, you start changing it and working on it, which is something that the abuser will never do. They will not change. They will not work on it. It's not in their wheelhouse to do. But as targets of abuse, we come out of the fog and we go, oh, fuck, I treated people like shit. It's just like when you come out of alcohol, you go, oh, fuck, I treated people like shit. Okay, hello, amends. Do you see where I'm going with that? Abusers never amend. They don't apologize, but targets of abuse do. Targets of abuse have great senses of guilt and shame, and that's the difference. An abuser does not have a sense of guilt and shame. They think that they're absolutely entitled and right, and that the way they've treated people is absolutely okay. They don't question themselves because they don't have a Jiminy Cricket up here. They don't. It's like everybody else on the face of the planet has got a voice inside of their head or their heart, wherever you choose to look at it, telling you, yeah, that feels right. No, that doesn't feel right. Gut, hello, but an abuser doesn't. They don't. They do not have that empathy cog. They don't. They're missing it. That's why they're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, which brings me to my next topic, dual diagnosis, BPD, NPD. Okay. So somebody with a dual diagnosis of borderline personality disorder and narcissistic personality disorder, they're going to look very much like my dad. Okay. I don't know if you, again, shameless plug, but this is why I keep this stuff here. What's Wrong with Your Dad? Available on print on demand on Amazon. They're going to look very much like my dad. So he was borderline personality disorder like nobody's business, but with very strong narcissistic expression. So that would be kind of that. So in other words, the person with borderline personality disorder and narcissistic disorder is going to be very self-centered, have all the charming traits of the narcissist, but also all the traits of the borderline, which means the insecurity, the raging, the chaotic thinking. So borderline borders on all 10 major personality disorder traits plus disordered thinking, chaotic thinking. That's why it's called that, because it borders on psychotic thinking, because it has all the traits of all 10 major personality disorders. I'm going to cough. Sorry. Okay. So they're going to behave like both. It is like the worst of both worlds. And you never know what you're going to get. I mean, literally, you could walk in one morning and say good morning and everything will be fine. And the next morning you'll walk in and say good morning the exact same way. And they will lose their shit telling you that you meant fill in the blank. That's the borderline stuff coming through. The narcissism, they're constantly looking for attention. Constantly. I need to be the center of the room. I need to be the center of focus. I need to be the center of this relationship. They will throw their kids under the bus. They will demand that their partner throw their kids under the bus. They will insist that the kids are taking too much time away from them, or that the pets are taking too much time away from them. They'll do all of the stuff that we've seen in narcissism, but it's also with the borderline, and they have the raging, and they have the insecurity, and the thinking is absolutely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I mean, nuttier than a fruitcake. Seriously. I hate fruitcake. Anyway, so that is what borderline and narcissism together are going to look like. They will be in positions of power, like politics. They will be in, my dad was an attorney. He was a city attorney for 2 cities in California, and that's where he got his narcissistic supply. But he was also borderline like nobody's business. I mean, he totally fit the criteria for that, but he also had very strong traits of narcissism. So yeah, you're going to see the worst of both worlds. It's not going to be pretty. Then you'll have the dark triad. So that's when somebody's got a diagnosis of ASPD, antisocial personality disorder, coupled with narcissism, probably borderline in there too. And then they're the control freaks. They're the Machiavellian. That's not a technical diagnosis, Machiavellian. But when you get somebody who is ASPD, psychotic, and NPD, they're inevitably going to have that control freak thing. They need to have the final say. They need to be right. They need to win at all costs. They are dangerous. I cannot say this enough. You show me a stalker, I'll show you somebody who's got the dark triad. Abso-freaking-lutely. Not all personality disordered people become stalkers. I want to make that very clear. It's kind of like plums and prunes. All prunes are plums, but not all plums become prunes. Same thing. All stalkers have a personality disorder, but not all personality disordered people become stalkers. So I hope that clears that up. So when you are dealing with the dark triad, and you're dealing with a stalker, you're dealing with somebody who is fighting you to the death in court on a divorce or a custody battle or, whatever, you're dealing with somebody who is a dark triad. You're dealing with somebody who is a control freak, who probably has narcissism, NPD, and is probably also antisocial personality disorder, because they think they're right and they're crazy and they are thinking that the rules of the world do not apply to them, that they are special and that they are going to get away with it. And they will do underhanded, nasty things thinking that they're going to get away with it. But you know what? The universe has a way of catching up with them. So that is what that dual diagnosis looks like. And when people contact me and say, oh my God, I am in this 10-year battle for divorce with a kid, custody issue, I know that they're dealing with a malignant narcissist, probably a dark triad. And so those are the ones that are dangerous. And somebody from, I think it was Denmark, was telling me that the court system there refuses to acknowledge that particular diagnosis is a thing. And I'm sitting here going, okay, how many people have died because of stalkers? How many people have been harmed because of stalkers? And when you sit there and you really do an evaluation on them, what are they? Well, they don't think the rules apply to them. So that's antisocial personality disorder, because the rules don't apply to them. They're above it. They're smarter than that. So they think. That's their ego talking. That's their psychosis talking. So, okay, hold on. Okay, Shannon, I hope that answered your question. So BPD and NPD together is exactly like my dad. Exactly like my dad. This arrogant sense of, he owned everybody and that it was owed to him and we owed him everything. And coupled with the absolute insecurity, the psychotic thinking, he was crazy. I mean, he was absolutely batshit crazy. You look up the word batshit crazy, there's a picture of my dad. So yeah, it was a combination of that. So read the book. It is called What's Wrong with Your Dad. It will trigger you. I've had people contact me and say, oh my God, this book really triggered me because I can relate to it totally. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. So when you read it, be aware. If this resonates with you, it's going to trigger you a lot. But it's a good book. She said so humbly, But it lets you know you're not alone. That's basically it. Because when I wrote this book, I felt completely alone. It was kind of like, oh my God, I am the only person that has ever gone through this. What the hell? And I'm not, and you're not. And it's good to know that you're not alone. So this is available on demand, print on demand on Amazon. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them cha-cha is more of for the family and friends that have been devalued and discarded by the target of abuse. And this is going to be at the book signing on March 23rd at Tempe, changing hands, 7 p.m. Please come. I would love to meet you guys. I'd love to put faces to names and stuff like that. So that'd be cool. Okay, so, all right. So that's what borderline and narcissism looks like. Then ASPD with narcissism, and the Machiavellian is generally where you get your high conflict divorces. That's generally where you get your stalkers, your crazy obsessive exes, you know, that kind of thing. They don't let things go. They hold grudges, and the grudge will go for years. So for example, my dad and his first wife, she was definitely not playing with a full deck. And of course he had his issues, and the two of them exchanged nasty letters for 45 years. The day he died, he received a letter from her saying, you never bought our daughter a pony. And I'm like, what the yeah. But my dad would respond to it because it was narcissistic supply. He was enjoying the conflict because that's what they do. They would rather have negative attention than no attention at all. So when you are separating from somebody who has got narcissism and borderline or ASPD, they would rather have a fucked up, contentious connection to somebody than no connection at all. No connection at all is terrifying to them. Why? They can't stand being alone because of what goes on in their heads. What goes on in their heads is not pretty. It's not nice. It's more along the lines of, I need a distraction so I can control somebody so I cannot think, kind of thing. That's what they need. I need somebody to love bomb. I need somebody to hate. I need somebody. They're never just, zen, calm. They're not. It's like they're constantly looking for their next hit, and they would rather have a negative supply than no supply at all. And that's why they fight tooth and nail, especially in divorces, because once that is severed, there's no more supply there. It's done. And now they have to go find their own supply. And that's why they're so weird about it. Okay. Let's see. An addiction to their narrative. Yeah, they're very much addicted to their narrative. Okay. So this is what I wanted to talk about. So what's really important. So, okay. The only time I will ever agree with the humanists out there, because I don't agree with the humanists, because they're the ones that are trying to get rid of the personality disorders. They're like, we don't want to hurt anybody's little feelings. And I'm like, yeah, go fuck yourself. So the only time I will agree with them is when we are dealing with the targets of abuse, okay? I don't want people to start identifying with the depression, okay? So like people come in and they're like, I am depressed. No, you have depression. It's just like having diabetes. It's like you have diabetes, you aren't our diabetes. Does that make sense? So I don't want you to start identifying yourself as the issue. And when people start talking about their abuse, they oftentimes get stuck in that kind of victim thing. Like, they did this to me and they did that to me and they. So yes, we absolutely, at some point during the recovery, we have to put everything back onto the abuser or to the original wound. Absolutely. But then I want you to recognize you are a survivor. You survived. You came out of it more or less whole, which a lot of people don't. So, a lot of people either kill themselves because that's what the abuser wants, or, either directly or indirectly. And I have seen abusers do things like shove, candy and alcohol and whatever at somebody who's a known diabetic, trying to kill them. Or they'll do things like, why don't you just kill yourself? Nobody cares about you. Blah, 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 blah. Oh my freaking God. Seriously? So they want us dead. Okay. So when we get out of an abusive relationship, you are a survivor. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. You're no longer a victim, because now you're getting the knowledge. Now you understand how these monsters think. Now you understand how they operate and what they do, and the hoovers and all of this stuff, and the mirroring and the love bombing and the devalue and the discard and the intermittent positive rewards. Now you've got that power. Take your power back. You're not a victim. Stop being a victim. But I'll tell you who loves to be a victim. That would be the abusers. So what the abusers will do is they will start telling everybody and their dog that they are the one being abused. They will start a smear campaign. They will start telling everybody that you're leaving them and they just don't know why, and and they play the victim. Don't play the victim. That's another huge indicator of who is a target of abuse and who is an abuser, because the abuser gets stuck in the victim thing and never gets out of it, ever. But targets of abuse move out of it. You'll be in the victim thing at the very first little bit when you leave. But once you start gaining knowledge, once you start working with your therapist, once you start working the workbooks that I keep harping on, like, the Self-Esteem Workbook by Schiraldi, The Disease to Please by Harriet Breaker, The Drama of the Gifted Child by Alice Miller, the CPTSD from Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker. Did I miss one? I'm sure I did. But do you see where I'm going with that? When you start working on yourself, then you are no longer a victim, and you need to get out of that mentality, because the abusers are going to stay stuck in that. And that's going to be how you know who an abuser really is and who the target of abuse really is. They will also go to employers and family and friends and try to smear. And basically what I keep having to tell people is they're going to do what they're going to do, but you do want to let your HR know if you're in a high conflict divorce. You do want to let your family and friends know, and anybody who sides with the abuser, bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Don't need you. Don't need you. I will find my own tribe. Find your own tribe. Find the ones that support you. So the ones that support the abuser, they're not your tribe. So find your tribe. Okay. Physical abusers are usually emotional abusers too. Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. Excuse me. My abuser had BPD with bipolar disorder and generalized anxiety disorder. Yeah, and that's the problem, is that when you start compiling comorbidity, when you start getting dual diagnoses. So yes, you can have bipolar disorder and BPD. You can have bipolar and narcissism. You can have bipolar and fill in the blank, generalized anxiety, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you can have multiple diagnoses and still have a personality disorder. So that's what I'm saying. It's really, and abusers play on that. So I want to point that out. Abusers will play on their diagnoses, and they will, or diagnoses, what they have. They will play on that, and they will, oh, poor me, you can't leave me because I have this disorder, or I am this disorder, or whatever. Again, that's kind of like a medical Hoover when you think about it, except it's a mental health Hoover. Think about it that way. So you remember how I talked about medical Hoovers, especially with toxic parents, where they will be like, oh, my back, my hips, my shoulders, my this, my that. You can't stop talking to me. I'm old, blah, 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 blah. That's a medical Hoover. What abusers will do is a mental health Hoover. Well, you can't leave me. I'll kill myself. Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. I knew it was in there somewhere. Okay, so what they will do is, if they're borderline personality disorder and they reach the malignant end, again, guys, I'm not talking about the traits up. I'm talking about an actual abuser. So when they reach that point and you're getting ready to leave and they've got multiple diagnoses like bipolar, BPD, whatever, generalized anxiety, they may pull the I'm going to kill myself Hoover. So the I'm going to kill myself Hoover is where they go, if you leave me, I will kill myself. So then the codependent in us goes, oh my God, I can't allow that to happen. I will stay. I will fix you. I will make sure you're safe and stable and sound and okay. And then you stay. And then when you go to leave again, they do the same thing. So let me tell you something right here, right now. People who are going to commit suicide generally don't say a damn thing. That's been my experience. They don't say a damn thing. They just do it. And that's what's so heartbreaking for the survivors, okay? Because they often question, they'll come in and they'll sit on my couch and they'll say, what did I miss? What did I miss? What did I miss? What did I miss? You didn't miss anything. They were determined. They were going to do it. It was a done deal. So they will not say a word and they'll just go do it. kind of like, Robin Williams, kind of like that. So with abusers though, they will use that over and over and over again. And I cannot tell you the number of times that once I tell the target of abuse, don't believe them, leave, get out. If they kill themselves, it is on them. They are responsible for their own well-being. They are responsible for sticking around on this planet. It is their job. It is not your job. So that's the thing. It's like the abusers love to put off their well-being onto the target of abuse. Well, it's your fault if I kill myself. It's your fault if I'm not doing well. It's your fault. No, it's not. So that is a suicide hoover. Don't believe it. Get rid of it. Get rid of them. Be gone. Leave. Get out. It's not your job. It is not your job. Resign. It's not your job to make sure they stick around on the face of the planet. If they choose to kill themselves, that is their choice. It is. So don't buy it. So for example, I had one client that the person had threatened suicide for 10 years, right? And this person was trying to get out of the relationship, finally got out of the relationship, even though the person continued to say, I'm going to kill myself, I'm going to kill myself, I'm going to kill myself. 5 years later, the person is still alive. Do you see where I'm going with that? It's a suicide hoover. Don't buy it. Don't buy into it. Don't buy into it. It's a way to keep you stuck. It's a way to make you responsible for their well-being. It's another maneuver. It's another manipulation. It's another control mechanism. Don't buy it. And is it scary? Yeah, because in the back of your mind, you're like, well, but what if? Okay, remember what I said about what ifs? What is? Has this person actually done it? No, they're probably not going to. So what is you need to get out. If this person is abusing you and they're threatening suicide, get out. Get out, save yourself. That's the huge important thing. Okay, I am missing a bunch of stuff because people have been commenting. Oh my gosh. And I can't go back now. What the heck? Oh, sometimes this thing. I'm telling you. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. So being with an abuser is like having an infection. It really is. We do get infected by their behavior. We get infected by their mood. We get infected by their nastiness, how they say things, how they talk, how they process things, how they, it's always a negative thing. Always, always, always. So it is kind of like when you get out of it, you're getting rid of the infection. You really are. You're having to catch yourself. And the antibiotic to that is self-esteem. The antibiotic to that is boundaries. The antibiotic to that is a list of deal breakers. Seriously, reconnecting with family and friends, making the list of amends, taking responsibility for our behaviors. That's the antibiotic. That is the anti-narc stuff. That's how we get rid of them. That's how we boot them out and don't ever let them back in. The danger is that when we leave this abusive relationship, we'll just go right back into another one if we don't take the time to work on ourselves. And that's the danger. It's like, and anyone who thinks that they can just get out of one abusive relationship and dive into another one and everything's going to be great is smoking the ganja. Seriously. And they're not sharing. So anyway, that's the point. So it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You have to take time to work on yourself. Okay. You're getting out. Good for you, Rebecca. Awesome. Okay. Stalkers. Yes, I wanted to listen to Chris, but I have no picture, a fake name, and no friends on my Facebook because I know he is spying. Ha ha ha. Yes. So this goes back to flying monkeys. So you want to delete, block, get rid of as many people as you think are stalking you as possible, flying monkeys included. And you don't owe them a damn explanation. You don't. The problem with us is when we get out of an abusive relationship, we think we need to explain ourselves to everyone. Why? Because we were explaining ourselves to our abuser all the time. Well, where were you? Who were you with? What did they say? What did you say? Did they talk about me? Da, 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 da. And so we're always explaining to them in an effort to keep them from abusing us. So when we get out, we have a tendency to over-explain ourselves. You do not owe anybody an explanation. If you choose to kick somebody out of your life, you kick them out of your life. Bada bing, bada boom, done. If you want to give them a brief little, hey, you're siding with the abuser, I'm not interested, thanks for playing, bye-bye, that's great. But other than that, you do not owe them an explanation. You do not owe them anything to teach them or tell them why you're doing this. Your life is your business. And if they weren't flying monkeys, they wouldn't be getting booted out in the first place. Okay, 6 years is enough. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. 6 minutes is enough. Absolutely. Go you. All right. My ex did that love bombing, never took the blame for anything, was a stalker, gaslighting and name calling, projection, control freak, silent treatment, triangulation. Disappeared when I brought it up to my ex, she said I was the narc and twisted everything, saying I did it. She raged like a toddler having a tantrum. Yeah, that's what they do. Absolutely. That's exactly how they act. 30,000 and trial to get divorced, another 8 years, 4 and 5 times a year in court. The first court appearance after the divorce was for an Avon Bierstein. Oh, jeez. And a $10 pair of scissors. Definitely dark triad. Yeah, they fight over anything because they want to keep that connection. Okay, yeah, I know she ruined my holidays and tried to blame me, and sometimes would start with me so bad before we went somewhere. By the time I got where we were going, I didn't want to be there. Yeah, that's what they do. Chris, can 2 narcissists stay together as a couple in a lifetime? Yeah, they can. They can, especially if they have a target. So the target will be somebody outside. So the most common one that I've seen, so the most common connection is a narcissist with a borderline, okay? Because the narcissist can feed off of the borderline forever like a vampire. I mean, because the borderline is constantly emotionally dysregulated and not able to cope and not able to bring themselves back to center. So the narcissist just keeps them in a tizzy, and the narcissist just lives off of that chaos and the drama. So the most common one is a narcissist with a borderline. The next most common one is a narcissist with an empath. And then down the line is a narcissist with a narcissist. So you'll have a major narcissist and a minor narcissist. So generally the minor narcissist is a flying monkey of some sort, or it'll be a romantic partner that was a flying monkey, and they will target somebody outside of the relationship, and they will always be in conflict with somebody outside of the relationship. So there will always be an issue with somebody else. They're always going to be fighting City Hall. They're always going to be fighting an ex. That's what I see a lot, is that they go after the 2 narcissists come together and they go after the ex. And they just, keep the court thing going, and they keep this going, and they keep the social media stuff going, and they keep the smear campaign going, and they keep doing this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, absolutely. So it's a major one and a minor one together. Absolutely. So yeah, that's what they do. And they find an outside person, because they always need a target of abuse, always. And if they don't feed off of each other, they need to feed off of somebody. So they will either feed off children, or they will feed off a public institution, or they will feed off of whatever they're having the issue with. They're always suing people. They're always bringing them into court. They're always complaining. They're always this person's the bad guy, going after the ex, going after the kids, going after the judge, going after the lawyer, going after, you name it, they do it. But they need a triangulated third party outside of their relationship in order to put the focus on, so that they don't actually look at each other. That's what they do. Okay. Hello, Katie Joe. Mine just asked me to shoot him with a shotgun he had in my 3 and 4-year-old daughter's room that he had me locked out of. They're crazy even when they are alone. Yeah, that's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Okay, some say coverts can be attracted to overt narcs. Not sure how that would work, both selfish. Yeah, but as long as they've got a third party that they're pointing to, going, this is the problem, this is the problem, this is the problem, this is the problem, never looking at themselves. Because remember, 2 fingers pointing out, 6 pointing right back at them. As long as they've got a triangulated third party that they're always going to be pointing at, going, that's the problem, that person's the problem, that person's the problem, that institution is the problem, that da-da-da. Then they're both focused this way. They're not focused this way. They're not focused this way. So yeah. My mother did that, candy and alcohol, with my dad, who was a type 1 diabetic. Yeah, very common. They're trying to kill us. Absolutely. I remember my stepmom would wave me away saying, go further. I was at the beach swimming in the ocean. I was 8 to 9. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They're just freaking evil. Yeah, they want us dead. I think I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. The abuser sees something in us that they do not have, whether it is a personality or kindness or a sense of humor or success or gentleness or empathy or whatever. Okay, they don't have that. They want it, so they set about to get us. Mirror, 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 love bomb, love bomb, love bomb. As soon as they get us, though, their lack of empathy, they can't maintain a healthy, normal relationship. In a healthy, normal relationship, there's give and take. There's understanding. There is respect. There is love. Love and respect are the same thing. If there's no respect, there's no love, guys. So they can't maintain it. They can't. There is no maintaining that. They cannot do it. It's out of their wheelhouse. They cannot respect themselves. They cannot respect anybody else. So they then set about to kill us. Why? Because we have all the things that they don't have. And if they can't have them, nobody can. And that's what makes them dangerous. And that's why it bothers the hell out of me that when I hear people go, oh, they're not dangerous. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Abso-fucking-lutely, they are. You show me an abuser, mentally, physically, emotionally, and I'll show you somebody who's trying to kill you. Pretty much. Either they're trying to kill you physically, like beating you up, or they're trying to shove, beer and candy and stuff at you and you're an alcoholic, or they're trying to kill your light. You're a funny, happy, wonderful, good person, and they're telling you that you're ugly and you're fat and you're stupid and you're that and you lie and everybody lies because they lie. Do you see where I'm going with that? Or their abuser lies. So that's what they do. It's like they try to kill your light. They want to kill you. They do. They can't stand your brightness. That's what's attracted them to you in the first place, but then they want to kill it because they can't have it and they recognize they can't have it. Even if they're with you, they can't have it because they don't have that emotional cog. Whew, yeah. Okay, where was I? Yes, so they are trying to kill us, absolutely. And they will try to kill kids. And so, yeah, in dealing with the court system, in dealing with clients, I have seen step-parents, both male and female, do things that were dangerous to the kids because they wanted the kids out of the way. You betcha. You betcha. And if you're dealing with adult kids, what they'll do is they'll smear campaign the adult kids. Oh, that adult kid is a terrible person. I don't want them in the house and they're horrible and blah, 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 blah. And usually the reason they do that is because the adult kids knows who the abuser is and what they're up to. And they're trying to isolate the target further. So I'm sorry, but if an abuser has isolated you from your grown children, Houston, huge red flag, ginormous red flag. You should be listening to the kids, not the abuser. So there that is. Okay. Oh yeah. So James, good point. So the other thing that abusers will do is they will tell the person, you're fat, you can't eat that. Right? You're putting on pounds. I don't want you to eat the ice cream. I don't want you to have the sweets. I don't want you to, but then they'll turn around and eat it in front of you. Oh yeah, they do that. They're absolutely sadistic. You betcha. Okay. Why is this not charging? Hang on. Gotta get that back up and running. There we go. Okay. Yeah, they'll turn around and eat it in front of you. That's another form of fuck you. It's another way of I'm in charge, I'm in power. I can control what you eat. I can make you suffer while I'm doing it. So that's a narc thing. You betcha. Narcs can date narcs. I think that's a great idea. I know. I've always said, wouldn't it be nice if we could just like get them all to go to each other and just leave the rest of us alone? That would be so awesome. Okay. Hey, Debbie. If they have other supply, why do they continue hanging on? Smear campaign, stalking, threatening. Because it's the win. Okay. So you're dealing with somebody, when the new supply create enough of a diversion to make them stop? Is the ASPD responsible for the obsession, or is that a BPD trait? It is a narc trait. It is a narc trait. So what it is, it's all about the win. They cannot stand losing in any way, shape, or form. I mean, literally in any way, shape, or form. They are very, very, very competitive. And if somebody has beat them to the punch and divorced them, or somebody has beat them to the punch and left them, they want to win at all costs. And if they cannot hoover you back so that you come back to them so that they can leave you, then what they will do is they will start the smear campaign. They will start the stalking. They will start the, harming you in any way, shape, or form, because how dare you? How dare you leave me? How dare you win? Really, that's what it is to them. It's a win. It's a win or a lose. Remember, you're dealing with somebody who's got very split thinking. It's called splitting. So it's all or nothing, black or white, good or bad. There's no in between for them. So like in a normal, healthy couple, relatively speaking, if you get divorced, so let's say you married too young. Okay, let's say that you got married way too young, and in your 20s or 30s, you figured it out, and the two of you looked at each other and went, you know what? We've grown in different directions. This is not the right fit. We're going to divorce. It's an amicable divorce. It's done. It's mutual. It's done. Or even if it's not mutual and one person wants to stay married and the other one wants to go, they generally go, you know, you're right. This isn't working. I really hate to see this end, but, you know, let's split. That's healthy. That's normal. In an unhealthy relationship with a narcissist, you are not your own person. You are an object. They own you. How dare you decide to have your own opinion and your own brain and your own boundaries? That is unacceptable to them. They must bring you back into the fold. And if they cannot bring you back into the fold, they are going to punish you. You betcha. So that's what the whole obsessive ex stalking thing is that they are pissed because you won. You drew boundaries. You left. You're doing great without them. And you won. And they can't stand that. They want you to lose. It's got to be a win-lose for them. And if you're not losing, then you're winning. And if you're winning, then that means they're losing, and their little egos can't handle that. So that's all ego-driven. They're nothing but ego. Okay? And that infects the targets of abuse, is that ego thing, believing that the ego is real. And that's something we have to get rid of when we get out of abusive relationships. The ego is not real, guys. It's not. Kill the ego. The ego is the problem. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. That's how the abusers live, is in ego. They never are able to step out of ego to get into reality. Okay. I hope that answered that question. Well, Chris, from my experience, I know I'm an empath and codependent. I realized I had no boundaries and a people pleaser. So, Disease to Please, Harriet Breaker, Codependent No More, and Beyond Codependent No More by Melody Bpd. Not sure how to spell that. I don't know if it's with a Y or an IE, but it's Melody Bpd. So good books. Go get them. Those are really good. Self-Esteem Workbook, obviously, by Schiraldi. Those will all help. My God, Chris, you're so right. The psychopath remains stuck in the victim role and has tried so hard to break me, playing the poor me card. Yep, that's what they do. I'm moving on, working on me, and I no longer give him supply. Good job. No contact for a year. Yes. Power to the people. Which is driving him crazy. Yes, it does, because they would rather have negative attention than no attention at all. That's their thing. They would rather have some sort of weird connection to us than no connection at all. And it's very unhealthy and weird. So yeah, absolutely, Arthur. Stay no contact. Stay no contact. Good. So we got to work on the guilt, guys. So when an abuser is playing up the diagnosis card, oh, I have depression, I have this, I am depressed, or I am this, or I am that. You can't leave me. I'm going to kill myself, blah, 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 blah. You've got to get rid of the guilt. You've got to. It's not your job. You cannot take care of them. You cannot make them better. It's not your job to fix or heal them. It is not. You can only heal or fix the willing. Seriously, you can't. It's just like when somebody comes and sits on my couch and they're yes butters. Well, yes, but. Well, I like that suggestion, but. Well, I really don't see how journaling is going to help. I really did it. So every suggestion is met with a wall, basically. I fire them. I do. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm the wrong counselor for you. You need to find somebody else. So you cannot fix the unwilling. You cannot. And they're unwilling. They do the constant, help me, help me, help me, help me, help me. Throwing them lines, and they still, don't take the help. Or then when something horrible happens, they blame you for it instead of them taking responsibility for not doing something about it. So yeah, you cannot help the unwilling. It's not your job. Okay. Don't feel guilty. Work on the guilt. Work on the shame and the guilt with the CPTSD from Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker. Excellent book. There's a chapter, I think it's chapter 3, that talks about putting the shame and the guilt and the anger back onto the abuser. Abso-freaking-lutely. Don't live in guilt. Guilt is something that is given to us to control us, usually by toxic parents and toxic romantic partners, but we learn it from the toxic parents. Okay, Radical Acceptance. I love that book. That's another great book. So there is Radical Acceptance by Tara Brach, and there's Radical Forgiveness by Colin Tipping. So those are two great books. I really love them. Those are both really, really good books that helped me a lot. The narc said he was going to kill himself almost every weekend for months. I finally said, yes, please do, and he stopped using that. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. You call their bluff, and they usually stop. Or they'll do a suicidal gesture. See, I told you I was going to kill myself, but it will never kill them. Do you see where I'm going with that? Okay. My ex-narc told her flying monkey in June
told her to tell me I made her have a nervous breakdown and called that I said, I called that I said BS. She said the same thing when the father of her daughter left her.
So here's the deal. We cannot make another person think or feel anything. It is a choice. It is a choice. Moment to moment, minute to minute, day to day. It is a choice. And the illustration of that I'm going to give you, and I've used this before and I'm going to use it again. When I took my niece to Disneyland, this was 30 years ago. She was 10. She was just a little kid. She was so excited. And so she was gesticulating like crazy. We were at the Carnation Cafe, and she was talking with her hands. She was so excited. And she knocked all the waters right into my lap. And at that point, I had a choice. I could either choose to be pissed as hell at this poor little kid, or I could choose to start laughing. Well, I chose to start laughing because really the absurdity of it, it's like, what are the odds? You know? So all of this wet water in my lap, it's cold, it's the morning, and I'm laughing. And the waiter came over to me and he was like, I love you. And I was like, I love you too, because you work at Disney, because Disney's awesome. But he was like, do you know the number of parents that would have just screamed at this poor little kid and just made them wrong and ruined the day? And I'm like, yeah, I do. Having been raised by one, yeah, I do. So it's a choice. We choose moment to moment, day to day, what we do. We are 100% responsible for our own emotions, our own actions. Nobody makes us. And the second somebody says, you made me, Houston, you're dealing with an abuser. You're dealing with an abuser. It's a choice. Remember that. So when somebody says, you made me, fill in the blank, they're abdicating responsibility. It is them trying to blame you. It's a guilt trip. Don't pack your bags and go on it. It won't be fun. The room service sucks. It's a guilt trip. Don't do it. So you cannot make another human being do anything. It is a choice. We choose moment to moment, day to day, second to second, as do they. So there's that. Okay, where was I? Chris, you're nailing it. He blamed me in suicide notes. Yes, he's still very much alive. Ha! Yep, that's what they do. Rinse, wash, repeat. Yes, right? I like that. Yeah. Yeah, they will do anything. You know, I'll be depressed. I'll lose my job. You name it. They'll try any manipulation they can to keep you from going because they don't want to have to go back out there and find another supply because that takes a lot of energy. I can't watch you without thinking how you look 10 years younger in the past year. Holy heck. Okay, well, thank you. And the reason why is because I have been working out since last January with Jess Manny, who is a personal trainer, and I've changed my diet. I have pretty much gotten rid of most carbs, all sugar. Although on the weekends, occasionally I will go have a pie at the farmer market in Gilbert because there is this woman that bakes these pies that are just amazing. Her name, can't think of her name, but her name of her shop is One Bite More. Oh my, she does amazing stuff. It's like peanut butter and jelly pies. Who'da thunk? And then she does like, banana cream pies. Oh my God. And then she also does the pecan pies, but she does them like with like salted caramel and things like that. And she gets like the little sampler ones. So I'll get one of those little sampler ones. I'll make that last like forever. So anyway, yes, thank you, Susan. Thank you. I've been losing weight. I've been exercising. I've been changing my diet. Yeah, absolutely. So taking better care of myself. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for noticing. Thank you. Okay. Right when I was healing, it was hard for me to get it out of my head, all the vile names she called me. So here's the deal. When somebody has done great harm to us and they have called us all sorts of names, you're going to write them a goodbye letter. In the goodbye letter, you're going to do the good. There may or may not have been good. There may not. In some toxic parents, there's not. In some romantic relationships, when you realize that none of this was real, none of the mirroring was real, none of the love bombing was real, there may not have been any good, but you do the good, the bad, the ugly, the horrific, and at the very, very end, you tell them goodbye. I am raising the rent, motherfucker, and my rent is going up, and you are not allowed in my head anymore. Go fuck yourself sideways with an unlubricated baseball bat. Thank you very much. And by thank you very much, I mean go fuck yourself. So then what you do is you trot it out to the barbecue, and some people need to read it again. I like to read it again. You don't have to. You've written it. You can burn it. But I like to read it out loud once, like a Declaration of Independence to the universe. And then you put it on the barbecue thing and you light it on fire and you burn it and you let it go. 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 Because none of it was real. It's not you. Every rotten name they called you, it's about them. They were projecting. All right. Discards are rough. Yes, they are. He says so many ugly things. I know he's really talking about himself. Like, what a waste of his life I have been. No, he's wasting his own life. Personal responsibility. He's chosen. He's choosing. It's not you. It's him. Because I told him he was responsible to himself. Yeah, absolutely. They don't like responsibility. They hate that. They really, really, really hate that. When you keep putting it back on them and go, hey, this is all you dude, or you do that, they hate it. They absolutely hate it because they don't want to take responsibility. Chris, I had to cut off friends that I didn't know that they were toxic as bad as my ex. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. When that bandage comes off of our eyes, when that fear, obligation, and guilt comes off of our eyes, we're blinded by the light. Literally, we're sitting there going, oh, fuck, they're everywhere. It's like they walk among us. And we start noticing and we start seeing and we start realizing how many people we have surrounded ourselves with that were not healthy and not whole and not helpful and not, living an honest, good life. So yeah, it is disconcerting when we come out of an abusive relationship to have to go, okay, nope, bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. 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 And it can be lonely at first, but it's better to be alone for the right reasons than with somebody for the wrong reasons. Keep that in mind. And you will find your tribe. You've just got to go out and find them. They are here. They're here. They're here. I'm talking to you guys. This is the tribe. The survivors. We are the tribe. The ones who are not harming anybody. The ones who are working on ourselves. The ones who are helping other people and turning around and educating. And I'm going to talk more about that on Tuesday, actually. Okay. How is it possible that narc abusers can seem so normal sometimes, especially in front of coworkers and family? They want to impress, but definitely did not cultivate any real deep friendships. Do some of them reserve abuse for their closest significant others? Yes, they do. That's exactly how they manipulate. That's exactly what they do. My father would go out into public and put on this, I'm such a good Christian. I'm such a wonderful attorney. I'm looking out for the best interests of these little towns, yada, yada, yada. He would get home and he would just rage at me and rage at my mother. And if I didn't go to church with him, oh, my sweet baby Jesus, he would literally stand there at my door at 6:00 on a Sunday morning. Because I finally told him, I said, I'm not going to church with you. I'm sorry. I can't handle the misogynistic version of God that you have, because he was very much hardcore fundamentalist, women are evil, blah, 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 blah. And I was kind of like, you know what? I'm 16 going on 17 and I'm pretty much done with this. So yeah. So I chose not to go to church with him. He would stand there at my door and almost kick the door in. I can't tell you how many times, because he was in such a narcissistic rage that I refused to go to church with him, because his whole thing was, what will they say? What will they think? What will they talk about? What will they? So he was so concerned about what the church members would say, or what the members of the community would say, or what, he was so concerned what they were thinking and feeling. And I had to go with him, and mom had to go with him in order to show that, he was the leader of the family and blah, 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 blah. So yeah, they're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. They act one way in public and completely different in private. If these people had seen the way he behaved in private, they would have been shocked. They really would have, because he was such a great actor. He would put on this front of, I'm the pillar of the community and I'm this wonderful, hardworking, looking out for everybody, blah, 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 blah. But then he'd come home and he'd try to molest me, and he would scream at me, and he'd scream at my mother, and he would demand that we think, feel, and do everything he did think and felt. Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. That's exactly what they do. That's exactly what they do. Okay. Okay. I don't post a single picture of myself anywhere. Too many bad exes. Yeah. Clean up your social media, lock it down, make sure there's no abusers or flying monkeys on there. That's the best thing you can do. Okay. I used to wake up every morning with a strong fear and anxiety until I was 56 years old. I traced it to being woken up and being punched by my dad because he ran out of ice cubes. I remember stepmom in the background saying, that's enough. I deep down feared for my life. When I remembered that, I was able to let it go. Yeah. And that's the thing with CPTSD. Okay. So when we come out of abuse, we ourselves may get dual diagnoses because we're going to have complex post-traumatic stress disorder. We're going to have anxiety like nobody's business. We may have depression, abso-freaking-lutely, and part of PTSD, part of CPTSD is being unable to remember events until we're safe, because our little brains cannot process it. That's why. So when we're a kid and our lives are being threatened, okay, remember the amygdala? I don't know if you guys remember the amygdala. Let me talk about the amygdala. So we've got left side, right side, amygdala. This is the brain, left side, right side. So this is the amygdala. The amygdala is an almond-shaped organ that sits about an inch inside of each ear. Now, this is our fight, flight, freeze, or fawn center. The problem with the amygdala is it is really, truly, honest to God, stupid. Like 3 O's, stupid. It cannot tell the difference between a threat, like being mugged, a thought about being mugged, an emotional threat, like, oh my God, my spouse is leaving me for the person next door. A thought about an emotional threat, oh my God, what if my spouse leaves me for the person next door? A future threat, I'm just going to daydream about being mugged, or a past threat, holy shit, I was mugged 20 years ago. It cannot tell the difference between the time, okay, in any of this, whether it's real or imagined. So the amygdala causes the brain to feel like it's happening right here, right now, which then tells the hippocampus and the hypothalamus, oh my God, we're in danger. Threat came in, we got to do something. Tells a part of the brain to start releasing cortisol. Cortisol is our stress hormone. We start tensing up because we're getting ready to kill something, run away, freeze, or give in to the abuser so that we don't get harmed. That's fawning. At that point, we're not breathing. We're taking little teeny tiny puffy breaths, right? There's not the right oxygen CO2 exchange, which tells another part of the brain, oh my God, we're going to die. There's no freaking oxygen CO2 exchange. What the hell? That tells the adrenal gland that sits on top of the kidneys to release everything at once. So now we've got all the adrenaline going, right? Shaking like a leaf, little teeny tiny breaths, racing thoughts, racing thoughts, racing thoughts, racing thoughts. Not good. At this point, we go into one of two things. We either break off into a full-blown panic attack, which is the boom, keel over. That's my favorite. Or we blow into the rage attack because we're trying to Incredible Hulk ourselves out of danger. So when we're little kids, we're not fully able to comprehend what the hell is going on, especially if we are being physically attacked. So when we have been physically attacked or emotionally attacked to the point where we are threatened, to the point where we think we're going to die, our brains shut it down so that we cannot remember it because it's too much. It's too much. It's a way of coping. It's a coping mechanism. So what often happens is we grow up and we don't have chunks of our childhood. We'll forget entire chunks of our childhood. And then when we're finally safe enough and we've got a good therapist or we're working on ourselves and we found our tribe, we feel supported, then the memories start coming. And that's what is often very distressing to survivors of abuse, is because all of a sudden the memories start coming and now it's like, oh, damn, hi, forgot about, wow, oh shit, so it's normal. You're not crazy. It's normal. This is what happens to us. So get with an EMDR therapist, eye movement rapid desensitization. I think I just said that backwards. But anyway, it's basically is where they have you look at something and your eyes are going back and forth and you're processing the trauma, but you're not reliving it. So what it does is it hijacks the brain process where the amygdala says, now, it's happening now, it's happening now, it's happening now. And it tells the amygdala, go fuck yourself. And you bypass that and you're able to talk about it without re-experiencing it. And that's the important part, because what happens to us is that we re-experience it. That's part of CPTSD, is that we have flashbacks and we re-experience it and it feels like it's happening now, and then we get re-traumatized, and then it's harder to heal from that. So get with a good EMDR therapist. I really strongly recommend that. That would be a great thing to do. Okay, so the medical Hoover. We had the car accident Hoover. It was this crap. Oh, no, come back. I can't read it. It left and I can't go backwards. What the hell? I don't know. Okay, yeah, don't get drawn in by any Hoover, whether it's a medical Hoover, whether it's an emotional Hoover, whether it's the suicide Hoover, whether it's the car accident Hoover, whether it's the I lost my job Hoover, whether it's the, once you've said goodbye, say goodbye, stay goodbye. Does that make sense? Can a narc parent cause borderline type behavior in the child for supply? Yes, absolutely, you betcha. That's, yeah, my dad would
poke the bear, poke the bear, poke the bear, poke the bear to my sister. Okay. And he would do things like run into the bathroom and just leer at her. He did that to me too. But I learned early on to go gray rock. I didn't even know I was doing it. It's like I learned that if I didn't give him a response, he stopped because there was no fun in it for him. But my sister never did. And so she would respond every single time, scream at him, call him names, yell, etc., get angry, rage, whatever. And he loved it. He loved it. He terrorized that poor kid. I feel really sorry for her because absolutely they do that. They want the supply any way they can get it. And yes, it's environmental, guys, nature, nurture. Some of it's nature, some of it's nurture, a lot of it's nurture. So yeah, there it is. Okay. Yeah, and they will shame them for that, So for example, let me give you an example. One time my dad was just being an ass, and I remember calling him on it. And of course, I was always the bravest one in the family, stupidest one in the family, because I was the one that always got hit. But I would say something to him, like I'd call him out on his shit, and he would play the victim. Oh, how could you... Nothing sharper than a serpent's tooth is that of an ungrateful child. That was his favorite Shakespeare line from King Lear. He quoted that all the goddamn time. That was his motto. And so whenever he got called on his shit, he would tell us that we were ingrates and that we should be thanking him because he provided a roof over our heads and gave us food and clothing. Very begrudgingly, I'd like to point out. I just, made us wrong for everything. So yeah, they love to shame. They'll set it. And then if you rage back, so one time he hit me and I was like, you will never touch me again, motherfucker. That was it. Game on. He had all the reason in the world to keep hitting me. So yeah, you betcha. So yeah, they do that. They shame us. They poke us. They push us to the brink. They get us to the point where we fight back. And yeah, then they take advantage of it. You betcha. Okay. Hey, Dion. Okay. Let's see. As soon as she got my widowed dad, she took him away from us. Yeah, they do that. So an abuser will march into somebody's life that has kids, and as soon as they got the victim, the target of abuse, they'll start pushing the kids out. They'll come up with all sorts of bullshit about how horrible that kid is or how lazy that kid is or how this or that kid is, and they will insist that the target of abuse throw that kid under the bus for them. Ego supply. If somebody has asked you to get rid of your kid for them, Houston, you got a problem. You're living with an abuser, period. Okay. My mother always keeps saying dad is having inner ear problems convincing him, but it is his heart. I've been witnessing this. I confronted her and she became not just outraged, but then targeted me. Yeah, that's what they do. Absolutely. They don't want the target of abuse to get healthy or happy or whole. They don't want somebody else to point out that there's something else going on that needs to be looked at. Yeah, you betcha. And as soon as they realize that you see them for what they are, oh, you're going to be the target. You're going to be the target. Abso-freaking-lutely. All right. I don't know why it's freezing up, guys. I'm still going. It could be Cox, because Cox is, the evil empire. Okay. All right. Is it the intention to harm in any way related to or similar to Munchausen's, as in for the attention? No, it's different. So in Munchausen's by proxy, okay, that's another diagnosis that oftentimes abusers will have. In Munchausen by proxy, what they will do is they will harm the child or harm a spouse and enjoy the attention that they get from it. So, oh, poor, I'm going to pull a name out of the, poor Bertha. Poor Bertha, the kids are always sick, or the husband's always sick, or whatever. And then it turns out that they've been poisoning them with rat poison, or, or doing things to make them sick because they get this sympathy and stuff like that. That's Munchausen. That's a little bit different. With a narcissist, they do enjoy the sympathy and things like that. They enjoy the suffering more. So with them, it's more of they hit, they harm verbally, and they enjoy the look on your face. They're sadists, guys. I'm not kidding you. And I don't mean like, sexual sadists, although they can be too. But I mean like sadists in that they get off on harming. Have you ever seen that recognition smile? So when somebody harms somebody and then smiles, oh, you just gave them narcissistic supply like nobody's business. My dad would do that. So he would hit me or say something vile, and I would, before I could stop myself reacting, I would react, and then I'd see that recognition smile on his face. So that smirk. It's the narcissist smirk. It's the narcissist sneer. It's the, I gotcha. Yeah, good. Good, I hurt you. Good. That kind of thing. Okay. Normal people don't do that. I don't enjoy seeing people suffer. It does not make me happy. I don't even enjoy seeing abusers suffer. I really don't. Because, again, we are all one. Hello. So, I don't like them, but that also means I don't want to see them suffer. If they're going to implode, I'd rather they do it away from me. Okay. So, yeah, that's that recognition smile. They enjoy the suffering. They are into the watching the person be harmed. They enjoy it. They enjoy it. They enjoy it. Okay. Hey, Tanya. Okay. We need a narc spray. I agree. That'd be awesome. Wouldn't it be nice if you could just walk up to somebody and be like, shh, bye-bye now. That would be awesome. I would love that. That's my narc mother. She isolated me from my children. My daughter came back to me when she turned 18. Lots of therapy from the abuse my mother has done to her. Doing great after 2 years. Okay, good. Smeared my son, called him names and lazy. Fed me alcohol, said I had no empathy, so see it now. He is an emotional vampire. Abso-freaking-lutely. He's so livid that I told him to go take care of himself. Well, yeah, because they don't want to take responsibility for themselves. They want somebody else to be responsible for their self-care. Okay, my ex-narc tried to isolate me from my friends, and she would start with me through text anytime I was cut out the entire time to make me feel bad. I was doing something, and when she was out, didn't want to be bothered. Yeah, so they will blow up your phone when you're out with your friends. They will blow up your phone when you're out with your family. They'll blow up your phone when you're out with your kids. So what a narcissist will do is that they will text you when they know you're out doing something. It's like Lady Gaga and Beyonce, the telephone. Stop calling. I don't want to think anymore. That one, that's what she's talking about. She's talking about somebody who's constantly blowing up her phone. And that's what narcissists do in order to control. Because if you're out with your family and friends, they want to make sure that you're thinking about them and that you're not focused on your family and friends. They want to be in the forefront of your mind the whole time. And that's what they do. And they interrupt jobs. They will call with jobs. They will, constantly call on the phone and interrupt your workday. They'll call when you're out with family and friends. They'll call when you're out doing a hobby. They'll call, or text, and demand an immediate response. And if you don't respond immediately, oh boy, are they going to punish the living crap out of you. You betcha. Yup. So yeah, the Lady Gaga telephone. Oh, and I was going to tell you, there's another song out there that I freaking love called New Rule. New Rules. I got new rules. And she talks about don't let them in. You're going to have to kick them out again. Don't take their phone call because they're going to try to weasel their way back. It's the New Rules song, and I love it. I'm just like, I love this song. Okay, so there's that. That happened with my sister-in-law. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's craziness. Do borderlines have a choice on their behavior? No. Yes and no. Yes and no. So here's the thing. Before they get into therapy, no. Just like anything else. It's awareness, okay? So they've got a set of behaviors that is not healthy. So they rage. They have insecurity like nobody's business. They've got the psychotic thinking. They've got the personality traits of all 10 major personality disorders. But once they have been made aware that there's an issue and the emotional deregulation is harming people, now it's a choice. Now it's a choice. Do they get help or not? Which leads me back to another thing I wanted to talk about. So with abusers or with somebody who's got a dual diagnosis, they will avoid going to therapy like nobody's plague. Like, that didn't even make sense. I'm going to try that again. They will avoid going to therapy like nobody's business. And they, like nobody's plague. What the fuck was I thinking? I don't know. So it is kind of a plague because they won't get help. They don't want help. Remember, that goes back to the whole you can't help the unwilling. So an abuser doesn't want help. And somebody who refuses to go to therapy, that's a huge red flag. So when an issue has been brought up and they go, fuck you, I'm not going. Okay, be done. Be done, because you cannot have a healthy relationship with somebody who is unwilling to work on the issues. Now, borderline personality disorder is psychotic thinking, and it's terror. They are terrified.
Metaphorically speaking, if you cut open a borderline, whether they are the quiet type, whether they are the hermit type, whether the queen type or the witch type, if you cut them open and you looked at them on the inside, it is a black, seething abyss of fear and hatred and anger and confusion and chaos, okay? I have great sympathy for the borderlines that are on the traits of ends of the spectrum, so the quiet ones and the hermits, because you can work with those. Once somebody has slid into malignancy and they're the witch or the queen, you're pretty much done. So when the behavior has been brought to their attention and they're on the traits of end of it and they choose to go get therapy and they're willing to confront the terror and the fear of their behavior and change, then yeah, they are 100% responsible for their behavior. You've made them aware of it. It's not in the dark anymore. It's not a oops. It's not a what the hell is this? It's not any of that. It's like, this behavior is not normal. You need help. And if they choose to continue doing it, then that is now a choice. Now, if everybody says nothing and just goes, ooh, let's tiptoe around and pretend that this is not happening and we're just going to walk on eggshells for the rest of our lives and we're not going to really tell them what's going on, well, then they don't have a choice. They don't have a choice to change. They don't have a chance to change because nobody's calling them on their shit, if that makes any sort of sense. So once the awareness has been presented to them, now it's a choice. Now it's a, do I get help and stop this behavior, or do I continue to revel in the rage? Do I continue to revel in the fear? Do I continue to harm the people I love? Yeah, it's choice at that point. Prior to that, no. After that, yes. Hope that makes sense. Okay. Peanut butter jelly pies. Yeah. Let's see. And I don't like peanut butter, which is weird, but I love Reese's peanut butter cups, but I don't like peanut butter, but I love the pies too. Anyway. Okay, my sister has 4 kids, and I love them, and they had accidents on me, and I couldn't get mad at them. No, they're adorable little faces. My dad, on the other hand, would lose patience. Yeah, because they take it personally. That's what happens when accidents happen. Abusers take it personally. You did that on purpose. You meant to do that. You wanted to ruin my day. You wanted to ruin my, I don't know, pants or whatever. They think everything is on purpose. They personalize everything. It's all on purpose. It is personal. Whereas, a normal person can go, okay, snowbird in front of me driving 25 miles an hour in a 45 zone. They do this to anybody. It's not just me. Still gonna call him a motherfucker, but it's not just me. Do you see where I'm going with that? You don't take it personally. Okay. Kind of keto, but not really. So it's like we still have, because Dion's asking about my diet. So it's lower carbs. It's not no carbs. It's lower carbs. So it's a lower carb, but not a keto diet. So yeah, absolutely. I was told I made him drink and rage. Oh, you made me. You made me drink. You made me rage. Bullshit. Bullshit. He chose. 100%. He chose to drink. I'll tell you what. I deal with people every damn day. Where sometimes I go, like the old Airplane movie, so pick the wrong decade to quit drinking, So, but it's a choice. It's a choice. So we choose, and you cannot make another person do anything. So they're choosing to drink. They're using you as an excuse. They want to drink. That's what alcoholics do. That is what abusers do. Oh, you gave me the perfect opportunity to rage. Oh, I'm going to use it. Oh, you gave me the perfect opportunity to drink. Oh, I'm going to use it. That's what alcoholics and that's what abusers do. So don't buy it. It's not true. It's bullshit. He's choosing. Okay. Then I went no contact and it worked for the moment and with a protection order. Good for you. All right. Okay. Yeah, financial responsibility. Yeah, they avoid financial responsibility like the plague. So I can't tell you the number of times that an abuser will come in and blame the partner for all the finances, and I'll, figure it out really quick and say, okay, we need to separate and see you guys individually. And pretty soon it turns out this is an abuser. This is the target. The abuser's not contributing, not working on the budget, not doing anything, refuses to work a budget. When somebody refuses to work a budget, I'm just like, okay, either they're terrified of math or they're an abuser. That's pretty much either or option. So, if you're in a partnership and you're with somebody and finances are involved, you should be budgeting. You should be looking at the budget. Both should be looking at the budget. You both should be contributing. You both should be doing things together with the budget. So yeah, they will avoid financial responsibility at all costs. You betcha. Okay. Including co-working narcs. Yeah, co-worker narcs, they're out there. They're out there. They're among us. Oh, James, stop it. I have makeup on. Stop it. Thank you, though. Okay. All right. Survivor's Picnic. That's a great idea. I love that. Okay. You're here for a couch oxygen. That's hysterical. Okay. Okay. Chris, is the amygdala why I have a thing for scary movies and Halloween, haunted houses? I cannot get scared, but keep trying to be. Okay. So here's the thing. I love the paranormal. Love the paranormal. I think we are in part adrenaline junkies. And it is in part, because I'm a recovering alcoholic, guys. And that's first to admit that. Hello, my name is Chris. I'm a recovering alcoholic. And so we have a different kind of brain where we enjoy the dopamines, the endorphins, the neuroepinephrines, the adrenaline, adrenaline junkie. You betcha. Why do you think we like roller coasters? Absolutely. So there is that, and that is something to be aware of, because if it's taken to an extreme and if it's taken in an unhealthy way, we can start engaging in unhealthy behavior. Does that make sense? Like one night stands with total strangers, or, doing dangerous things that we wouldn't otherwise do. So that you got to be careful with that. It's good to acknowledge it. And like I said, I love the paranormal. It doesn't scare me per se, but I do love reading about it, and I love haunted houses, and I love doing paranormal investigations, and I love doing all of that stuff because it's fun. So, and it's interesting to me. So, because there's also a psychological aspect to that. So it's kind of, yeah, I think it's because we are adrenaline junkies. I think we are addicts. I think when we come out of an abusive relationship, we are dealing with addiction. Absolutely. We're not addicted to the abuse. And this is what pisses me off when I hear people go, oh, you're addicted to the abuse, blah, 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 blah. Shut up. No, we are addicted to the intermittent positive rewards. We're addicted to the intermittent positive rewards. When that high comes back from when they mirror us and they love bomb us, that's what we're addicted to. And yeah, I think we are adrenaline junkies. I do. So, because it's the thrill. It's the thrill. So you've got good to that. You know that. Keep an eye on it. Be mindful. Huge. Okay. Okay. My ex was affecting my sleep. Wouldn't bother texting me for hours. Then I would try to go to sleep. She would be texting me. Why are you going to bed? What the fuck did you do that made you so tired? Oh my God. Yeah, that's exactly what they do. They sleep deprive us because we're easier to manipulate if we're exhausted. However, their sleep can't be interrupted in any way, shape, or form. If they're taking a nap and we wake them up, oh, God forbid. You know what I'm saying? Okay. No EMDR in the Caribbean. Ooh. Where are you? Holy cow. Let me think. Try looking on psychologytoday.com. There may be EMDR people and you just don't know about it. You could also look up on Google, just Google EMDR practitioners wherever you are. I'm not sure where you are. So that's a problem. Let me think. Okay. The other thing you could do is find somebody who specializes in trauma. Maybe they don't do EMDR, but maybe they could do, they could do DBT. DBT is mindfulness. That would be good. Cognitive behavioral can help as well, but you need somebody who understands trauma so that you don't get re-traumatized all the time, if that makes any sort of sense. I'll have to think about that one. Okay. Lizard brain was super activated for years. I left the abuser, went no contact, hurt, healed, read, learned, activated critical thinking. Thanks to Rich Grannon and me. Thank you. I love Richie. He's so awesome. Continued working on CPTSD and initial wounds. Now my amygdala shut up for the most part. Yes! Yay! Good job. Wake up in fear every day. Tell myself out loud that I am not physically or emotionally in imminent danger, like childhood and relationships. Yeah. So you got to start working on the original wound. You got to start working on that trauma so that it's out of your head
and that you're not constantly being triggered. Yeah, you betcha. Do they pick out something that you have an issue with and then gaslight you into thinking you have an even worse issue with it? Yes. Like if you are relearning to ride a bike so you can bike together, suddenly you ride too slow because you're lazy. Ooh, and you're holding me back from riding faster while he shows off how he can zip ahead. Or if you take too long to use the bathroom to get ready, suddenly it's the thing that's ruining the relationship. Yeah, that's exactly what they do. That is exactly what they do. You betcha. Okay. All right. Yeah, get rid of the shame. Get rid of the shame. They absolutely pick on little insecurities. Abso-freaking-lutely. Gaslighting. Yeah, absolutely. Anti-dark spray is pepper spray. I like that. Okay. Sometimes I admire the NPD's appearance of self-confidence and fearlessness. It's an act, guys. It's an act, because really, truly confident people don't need to put others down. They don't need to constantly call names. They don't hold on to grudges. They don't constantly talk about how fabulous they are, because they don't need to, because who and what they are stands for themselves, because their actions and their words match. So yeah, as somebody who might have lower self-esteem, we will look at the narc and go, God, I wish I felt that confident. Well, but it's an act. It's not real. It's an illusion, guys. The only thing that gives true confidence is self-esteem. Work on your self-esteem. Your confidence will come up. I can guarantee it. Okay. Oh, yeah. The movie with Robin Williams and Matt Damon. About math, oh God, the genius. I can't think of the name of it, but yeah, it's a beautiful movie. It's a great movie, and I love it. It's a wonderful, wonderful movie. Okay, New Rules by Dua Lipa. Don't know how to say her name. Anyway, yes, I love that song. New Rules. It's a great song. Okay. Sorry, going through the questions because I fell behind. Sorry. Yeah, so okay. So James is making a good point here. So the other thing that abusers will do is they will get into therapy and they will twist what the therapist says. It happens to me too. You know, when you get somebody with a personality disorder, they'll come in and go, well, you said blah, 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 blah. And I'll be like, no. No, I did not. So they twist stuff, and they will claim that they're in therapy, that they're working on themselves, and that they're getting better, and that their therapist says they're 100% normal, and blah, 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 blah. Which part of abusers' lie did you not pay attention to? They're not going to stop lying. They're not. And people tell the story that they can live with. Okay. And that means that abusers lie because they need to tell the story they can live with. Because if they really sat down and said, gee, I treated this person this way, 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 they'd have to get their ego out of the way, and they'd have to make amends, and they'd have to actually apologize, and they'd have to actually be a real human being. They're not going to do that. It's not going to happen. So yeah, they will get into therapy and they will claim that their therapist has told them that there's nothing wrong with them and that they're little angels and everything's fine and Nope, don't believe it for 1 second. If they were lying to you, sweetheart, what makes you think they're not lying now? It's what they do. It's who they are. Okay. Okay. So yes, the guy that was in Florida had been a cutter. Absolutely. There were so many issues going on with that kid. It's not even funny. So this is what I want to point out. Not every shooter, every shooter is going to have some sort of mental health issue, guys. Sorry, it's just the truth. So you look at all of them, it's either schizophrenia or unmedicated bipolar with psychotic features, or a personality disorder, or some sort of psychotic thing going on. So every shooter is going to have some sort of mental health issue. Normal people don't go around killing other people. They just don't. You may think about it, but you don't do it. So again, every
Prune is a plum. Not all plums are prunes. So every shooter is going to have a mental health issue going on, but not all people with mental health issues are going to be shooters. Does that make sense? So yeah, and it's so funny because everybody's ignoring the big issue, which is they're all making it about the guns, which in part it is. But I'm a gun owner, guys, so don't even start that, because I am a gun owner and I like my guns. So, but they're ignoring the mental health stuff. It's like when Reagan cleared all of the, or not even, was it Reagan? Yeah, it was Reagan. When Reagan cleared all of the mental health facilities, which he kind of sort of had to do because they were horrible. I mean, they were just warehousing people like nobody's business. And people were getting dropped off there. And it still happens at the homeless shelter too. Elderly were being dropped off into these mental hospitals because the family didn't know what to do with them. Mentally ill kids, things like that. And they were being warehoused with these violent offenders and things like that. And there was no oversight, and it was a horrible condition. So they got closed down. And Reagan, bless his little heart, he was an idiot, said, oh, well, the community will take care of them. Now, okay, in a perfect world, the community would take care of them. We don't live in a perfect world. If you notice, there's a lot of narcissists out there, and there's a lot of public officials that do not want to have to take care of people. There's a lot of people out there, period, that don't want to have to take care of people. So he thought that it would go to community clinics, and it didn't. So what happened? So they became homeless. So now they're in the homeless shelters. So we've got a huge amount of mentally ill people on the streets that have nowhere to go, and they don't have anybody to help them. And there's no social services to help them, really. And there's no place to send them long term, because it's all about the Benjamins, guys. It's all about the Benjamins. So it's like the insurance companies want the money. That's why they don't keep people long term in mental hospitals anymore. That, and they started getting sued by people who were like, you threw me in here to divorce me. Hello, Stepford wives. Hello, that's a real thing. So back in the 50s and 60s, the oil barons would declare their wives mentally ill and have them committed, and then have the marriage annulled, and then go marry their mistress. Yay, fuckers. Anyway, okay, so so the mental health hospitals went away. It was assumed that the community would pick up the slack because good, normal people would do that. There's too many. It's overwhelming. There's not enough money in the communities to help the homeless, to help the mentally ill. So we're overlooking the mental health aspect of this. Did this kid cut? Yes. Was he probably somewhere on the spectrum? You betcha. Was he psychotic? You betcha. Oh yeah, God love him. So, it's a thing. So we need to look at the mental health component of this and stop making it totally about the guns. We need to start looking at the mental health component of this. How did this kid fall through the rocks? The rocks? The cracks. You know what I mean. I cannot brain. What the hell? Okay. What's a narc? A narc is a narcissist. Narcissist. That's it. It's narky behavior, narcissistic behavior. That's what a narc is. Okay. I'm having difficulty with discernment in this area. I don't have a way to know if in therapy or if quiet. Oh, you're talking to Brian. Sorry. Just interrupted your conversation. Sorry. You two talk amongst yourselves. Okay. Okay, hang on. Okay. I had a narc boyfriend that kept telling me that for him to go further, he needed to know my finances to the penny. Oh, every cent I spent, he wanted me to log for a month. I kept starting it, but my gut kept stopping me. Yeah, it's nobody's business. Unless you guys are combining your finances, there's no reason. No, what's yours is yours. What's his is his. And if you choose to pull stuff together, then that's ours. But other than that, because what I've seen also abusers do is financial abuse. They will dry the person. They will bankrupt them. They will dry up their funds. They will spend the money on them, and you find yourself absolutely broke. You betcha. That's what they do. Okay, St. Lucia. Ooh, I've been to St. Lucia. It's beautiful. Oh my gosh. Holy cow. Okay, let me do some research and see what I can find. I don't know what services are there, so I'll have to research that. I'm so sorry. I'll look into it and see what I can find. Okay. Let's see. Good Will Hunting. Yes, that is the name of the movie. I love that movie. That is fantastic. Okay. Okay.
Oh, okay. So, okay, another sign of a narcissist is when they are constantly late, constantly making people wait on them. So, you tell them to show up at 7, they'll show up at 8. You tell them that you have dinner reservations at 6:30, they'll be enraged when they're not seated when they get there at 8:30. They are never on time. It is always a game. It is always they're too important. They are the most important thing on the face of the planet. Therefore, everybody should wait for them. So they are always late and they make people wait. Always, 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 always. Now, I belong to BNI, which is Business Networking International. And my attitude is if you're not 10 minutes early, you're late. And I warn people, it's kind of like, just letting you know, I'm going to show up early because that's kind of what I do. But, also showing up way, way early and catching somebody by surprise, that's a problem. But, 10 minutes phase, that's not too bad. But narcissists always show up late, always. It's a control issue. It's a power and control issue. Absolutely. Okay. Chris, you made a video about apology, and that's actually what my ex did. Yeah, they never apologize. They never apologize, not really. A narcissistic apology is always, I'm sorry, but, or I'm sorry, you made me, which is, fuck that. That's not an apology. A real apology is a heartfelt, I hurt you. I take responsibility for that. I am so sorry. It will never happen again. And then your actions and your words match, and it never happens again. Bada bing, bada boom, done. Why would somebody with BPD repeatedly falsely accuse their partner of cheating after being told not to, and it's problematic? Probably because they are cheating themselves. So remember, it's projection. It's one of two things. Either they are cheating themselves and they're blaming you because it's easier for them to put it out that way, or their biggest fear is being cheated on and they keep doing it because they want to get the truth. They want to get the truth. They want to get the truth. But then what they're going to end up doing is having you abandon them, which is their worst fear, because you're tired of being accused of cheating. So it's a vicious cycle, vicious cycle, vicious cycle. So basically that is something that you're going to have to take a look at. Either they're cheating on you or they are doing it because of the morbid insecurity. And they are morbidly insecure, pathological, absolutely. Okay. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of veterans that are homeless. That kills me. And it kills me that our administration is wanting to spend money on a parade as opposed to making sure that veterans are not killing themselves at an astoundingly alarming rate. Yeah, don't get me started. Too late. Okay. Yeah, I had to explain to myself that I don't lie and I don't cheat, even though my ex called me a liar and a cheater, and that everybody cheats. Yeah, that's what they do. So guess what? The second they say, oh, everybody lies, oh, everybody cheats, they're talking about themselves, just to clue you in. Hello. Okay. Okay. Smear campaign. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you can't control what other people think and feel, especially with a smear campaign. You just let it go. Unless they're doing something where they're naming you by name, which I have seen abusers do, which I'm just like, are you stupid? Let me answer that for you. Yes. If they're naming you by name, screenshot it. Screenshot it? Talk face banana patch. Screenshot it. Shoot it. Take a picture of it, and then contact your attorney, file an order of protection. You can get them for slander and libel. And yeah, it's crazy thinking. Yeah, it's the abandonment thing. The BPD is terrified of abandonment. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Okay. So starting to wrap things up here. Okay. So there's going to be dual diagnosis labels. So with an abuser, they will use those labels to continue to abuse. Don't leave me, I'm suicidal. Don't leave me, I am depressed. Don't leave me, I am anxious. Don't leave, it's not me, it's the alcohol. It's, all of this bullshit. For us, it's making sure we get with a good clinician that does not misdiagnose CPTSD as BPD.
exactly. That kind of thing. So there's going to be dual diagnoses out there. Can an abuser have more than one diagnosis? You betcha. They can be antisocial personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, and then have that whole control thing going on, which is not technically a diagnosis, but it's the Machiavellianism, which is the dark triad. So yeah, and can somebody with BPD have bipolar? Yeah, you betcha. But you want to make sure that the diagnosis is correct, because bipolar can mimic borderline personality disorder. So you don't want to get, a diagnosis of borderline when you really are bipolar. Does that make sense? And vice versa. So you want to question your counselors like nobody's business. Make sure they know what they're doing. Ask them what their modality is. Ask them what their way of counseling is. Talk with them. It's like, what works good for you? I am not for everybody. I'm too blunt. Some people need that kind of softer, somewhat blank screen therapist that's going to go, how does that make you feel? Not everybody likes that. I don't. And I'm very blunt, and I tell people, it's like, I'm not going to ask you how you feel, and I'm asking you how it's going for you, and what is that working for you? I don't mean to sound like Dr. Phil, but it's like, is this working or not? And if it's not, then we need to do something different, because life's too short. So yeah, so there that is. So all right. Yes, borderlines do create situations where the partner will have to abandon them. Left literally, absolutely, with the choice of either deal with more craziness and abuse or go. And it's a choice, and they force it. So yeah, you betcha. Okay, so all right, so there is that. Next week, I have no idea what we're talking about. Because I forgot to look at my email and reminding myself of what we were talking about. So I'll figure out what the topic is. And on Tuesday, I will let you know. So my evil plan is on Tuesday in the afternoon, I'm thinking around 1, maybe 2. I'm going to be doing another little live, in between show, because I've literally had like another list of questions from people that want to know more answers. So that'll be on Tuesday in the afternoon, unless caveat, I have clients coming in or an emergency happens, in which case that won't happen. So just to warn you guys. If you want to contact me here on We Need to Talk. You can instant message me. You can message me on YouTube. You can message me at the LPC page that I have, the Chris Godinez LPC public speaker page. That's great. Please don't message me on my personal one. I'm going to stop responding to people, because it's like, guys, this is personal. Keep it separate. March 23rd, Friday is the signing of the book. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him cha-cha, at Changing Hands in Tempe at 7 p.m. Be there. I would love to see you guys. You can also purchase my other book, What's Wrong with Your Dad, on print on demand on Amazon. I think that is it. Oh, Atlanta. So I will be doing book signings and a seminar in Atlanta. It looks like I'm going to be doing one seminar and a couple of book signings. So at the seminar, it's going to be, general admission is $20, and then there's going to be a VIP meeting session, so like probably 10 to 15 people. I'll have coffee with you guys. You guys can ask me any questions you need to, that kind of thing. That's going to be a little bit more. I don't know what the pricing is on that yet. And on Tuesday, I will also have the venues for that. So let you know where I'm going to be at in Atlanta, April 21st and 22nd. I will be there. So very excited. Going to try a couple of places, restaurants that I read about online. I'm like, ooh, Southern food. Ooh, I like this. Okay, so that's it, guys. All right. I think that is it. Let me make sure there's no last minute questions. Okay. Yeah, they do keep asking if you're going to leave because they're terrified of abandonment. You bet. Okay. All right. That's it. I'm going. I'm leaving. I'm going. All right. Have a great day, guys. Keep the questions coming. I will do another little podcast thingy on Tuesday, and I will talk to you later. Bye.